Welcome to The Explainer. All right, let's talk about something we all hope we don't have to think about too much. Hospitals. We go there to get better, right? But they can also be places with some invisible dangers. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the amazing systems that keep everyone safe inside. We're talking about hospital infection control.
So, have you ever really thought about it? When you're in a hospital, all you're thinking about is getting well. But there's this whole other world, this invisible battle happening all around you. A whole team is working nonstop to protect you from stuff you can't even see. That's infection control in a nutshell, and we're going to dive right into how it all works.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. What exactly is hospital infection control? You might hear it called HIC for short. So here's the thing. It's not just about one person wiping down a counter. Not at all. HIC is a whole system. A really good way to think about it is like the hospital's own immune system. It's this complex, interconnected web of rules and actions, all working together 24/7 to fight off infections and keep everyone safe. And the main bad guy this system is designed to fight? It's something called a healthcare-associated infection, or HAI. And it's exactly what it sounds like, an infection you pick up while you're already in the hospital for something else. The number one goal here is pretty simple. Make sure the place you go to get better doesn't actually make you sicker. Okay, so we've got the what, but now for the why. Why is this so important? Well, because when this system breaks down even a little bit, the stakes get really high, really fast. And you know, it's not just about protecting patients, though that's obviously huge. A really solid infection control program protects literally everyone in the building. It keeps patients safe from infections they should never get. It keeps the doctors and nurses safe from getting sick on the job. And honestly, it protects the hospital's reputation, making sure it stays a place people can trust. So, the bottom line is this. Good infection control isn't just about ticking boxes on a checklist. It's about preventing real harm. It saves money because people get better faster and go home sooner. And most importantly, it absolutely fundamentally saves lives. Period. So how do they actually pull this off? Well, it's not random. Every hospital has what you could call an official playbook. It's a super detailed game plan that lays out every single move they have to make to stop infections in their tracks. And this playbook really stands on 6 main pillars. First, you need the leadership, right? A dedicated program run by a committee that owns this. They set the standard precautions. These are the basics, like hand washing and wearing protective gear. Then you've got the really proactive stuff, constant surveillance, which is just a fancy way of saying they're always watching infection rates to catch any outbreaks early. You have hardcore sterilization and disinfection of, well, everything. Super careful waste management, you can imagine why that's important. And finally, you have ongoing staff training, because a plan is only as good as the people carrying it out. That's the high-level strategy. But what does it actually look like on the ground, day to day? Let's get into what these practices look like in action. This is really where the rubber meets the road. We're talking about things like hand hygiene audits. Yep, they actually watch to make sure people are washing their hands correctly. It means having strict isolation procedures for patients who might be contagious, to keep germs contained. There's also this really important idea called antimicrobial stewardship, which is all about being smart with antibiotics so we don't create more superbugs. And of course, there's intense environmental cleaning and a system for reporting any incident immediately so they can jump on a problem before it spreads. But look, let's be real. This is a complex system run by busy people, so it's not always going to be perfect. There are common hurdles, so let's talk about what those are and, more importantly, how hospitals try to fix them. You might be surprised to hear this, but one of the biggest, most persistent challenges is the most basic thing: getting everyone to wash their hands. Every single time. And you can't just send out a memo and call it a day. It doesn't work like that. The only solution is constant, ongoing training and putting up visible reminders everywhere so it becomes second nature, like a reflex. And then you've got bigger system-level challenges. Things like making sure medical waste is disposed of properly. That's a huge risk if it's done wrong. So the only answer is to have super strict protocols that are absolutely non-negotiable. Another big one, not knowing what you don't know. You can't fight an enemy you can't see. That's why modern hospitals are turning to electronic tracking systems to monitor infections in real time. It gets rid of the blind spots.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about what the hospital has to do. But this isn't just on them. It's not a one-way street. As a patient, you actually have a role to play and you have rights. So let's shift gears and talk about what you need to know.
And this really gets to the heart of it. This isn't just a nice idea or a goal for the hospital. It is your fundamental right to be cared for in an environment that is clean and safe. That's the basic promise of all healthcare, right there.
So what does that mean for you, practically? It means you have the right to ask questions, you have the right to know about any infection risks, and to know exactly what the hospital is doing to keep you safe. Seriously, don't ever be afraid to speak up and ask. An informed patient is always a safer patient. So what does this all mean for you? When you boil it all down, infection control is really a partnership. The hospital has its playbook, the staff have their jobs to do, and you have your rights. You, the informed patient, are the last critical piece of that safety puzzle. So I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you're in a hospital and you see a nurse or a doctor stop to wash their hands before they even approach you, you're not just seeing someone wash their hands. You're seeing that whole invisible system of safety spring into action. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.